What's up everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe down below and hit the notification bell. So far on this channel, we have talked about living below your means, saving $300 a month, turning it into $1 million by the time you retire, getting ready for the recession, but all of that doesn't really matter unless you have extra money to invest. And I briefly talked about this in the last video, which I'll link down below, about getting a part-time job, finding ways to make that $300 a month. But I had a lot of people reach out to me and ask specifically how they can make more money. So that's what this video is going to be about. I don't have kids, I don't have a mortgage, I don't have tuition, I only have to feed myself. My car is outright paid for. So saving money is pretty easy for somebody like me. But that might not be the case for you. You might not have $300 to put money into the market every month. You might not have extra time, because I know people who have kids, like, you could work 10, 12 hours a day and then you gotta come home and be with your kids. You might not have the extra time to do that. You might not have the extra time to drive Uber. You might not have the extra time to get a part-time job. So this video is really for all walks of life who want to make more money. And also, having more money is just fun, and not fun in the way that you're gonna go blow extra money. It's more fun because you can just relax and let off the brakes. You know, I live a pretty frugal life and I'm happy about it, but I have a lot of fun. I don't have a lot of fun because I'm out partying or because I'm blowing money. I have fun because I don't have to worry about my bills. I don't have to worry about how I'm gonna pay rent, how I'm gonna do this, how I'm gonna do that, because I live so frugally and I'm able to save and invest so much extra money that my life becomes so much less stressful. And the less stress you have in your life, the more time you have to do the stuff you want to do, and that's how you become happy. The way that I'm gonna break these down is kind of three main areas. Get a job, which if you don't have one, you need to have a job or some source of income. The next is gonna be getting a better job / getting a raise. The third is gonna be side income, hustles, and all that fun stuff. The very first thing, if you need to get a job, is you have to create a resume. And I highly recommend you getting somebody who knows what they're doing to make you a resume. For me, I'm really good at writing resumes, but I'm terrible with grammar, so I just pay for Grammarly every year. You know, not only is Grammarly great for writing resumes, but also business emails, letters. It's really worth the money every single year. If you need to, hire a professional or get a friend who you know is really good at grammar and is really good at writing things. It's important to have an amazing resume. And as much as I hate it, because I don't believe you should be based off of a piece of paper or what accolades you're able to put on a piece of paper, it's important because honestly in this society, most people just look at your resume, and if they don't like what they see within the first 10, 20, 30 seconds, you're not gonna get a call back. The next part of getting a job is to create a LinkedIn. I feel that LinkedIn is one of the most underutilized social media platforms. What I like to do when building a nice LinkedIn profile is obviously take a good cover photo. Don't have one in a black hoodie. I mean, as much as I like this thing, it's not good for your LinkedIn profile. Don't have ripped jeans. Don't be wearing sneakers. Don't take a selfie. Like, get somebody to do it. Pay a photographer $100. It's well worth it. Make it professional, because this is the most professional self that you can have on social media. The next thing is to connect with people in your industry. So for me, I connect with everybody in my area who's in real estate. Everybody in my area who's an investment banker. Anybody with the title CEO or executive assistant or whatever you're going for. Say you want to be a real estate executive assistant or an investment banker executive assistant. Connect with every single investment banker and real estate investor in your area and everybody who is an executive assistant or administrative assistant for those people. As far as applying to jobs, there's two ways. There's the sniper effect and the shotgun effect. The sniper effect is finding specifically what jobs and companies you want to look for. Taking the time to apply specifically for those companies, for those jobs. And you know, it's more time consuming, but that's something you know exactly that you want. The other approach is the shotgun approach. And if you don't have a job right now, you need to do the shotgun approach, because you need to just get something, and then we can focus on moving up. When searching for a job on LinkedIn, there's a drop-down box in the search that says LinkedIn features. There are two things within these features that I recommend you clicking on. The first is LinkedIn Easy Apply. What this does is saves your resume, saves your profile, saves your contact information, and saves your basic work questions that are going to be asked. And what you can do is simply one-click apply to any job that you want. The next is a drop-down box where you can choose to be one of the first 10 people who have applied for that position. This is good because you're definitely going to get your resume seen, and it's very easy. Just tap a button. So you could really apply with this method to 20, 30, 40 jobs a day. And while they might not be the best jobs at this point because we're just shotgunning everything, you need a job. Now, if you have a job and you're looking to get a better job, or you have the time to where you can take the sniper approach and actually find a job that you know you're going to enjoy, I recommend doing that. Still make the LinkedIn, still do all the stuff that I said, but when applying, take the time to make sure that it's a job and a position that you're really going to enjoy. Because everybody on Instagram and everybody on YouTube is like, you need to become an entrepreneur, you need to build $1 million business, you need to do all this. Honestly, there is no shame with just working a job for 40 years and retiring. Just make sure it's something that you enjoy. And one of the biggest things that I recommend when taking a normal 9-to-5 job is to make sure there's room to move up. So the next thing that I want to talk about is if you have a job, you like your job, you're not trying to find another job, but you want to make more money. And simply, we're going to talk about asking for a raise. As far as asking for a raise, it's not as simple as just being like, hey boss, I've been here for 4 years. I've been here for 10 years. I deserve more money. Because personally, I would probably kick you out of my office for saying that. If you come to me and you say, I've been here for X amount of years, I deserve more money, I'm going to laugh. Because I don't give a shit how long you've been somewhere. I care about what results you're producing. And I feel that that's why many people don't get the raises that they deserve. 1, because they are not producing probably. 2, because they are not keeping track of how they're producing. And 3, they're not bringing it up to management, which is what we're going to talk about right now. If you want a raise, and if you believe you deserve a raise, there are a couple steps you have to take. First is to find the highest up position person that you can speak to. This might be the boss directly above you. This might be a general manager, a regional manager, a district manager. You need to sit down with the highest person that you personally can get a hold of. So if you can't just call the district manager of the company that you're working for, then move your way down the ladder until you actually can speak personally with one of those people who are in charge. Schedule a time to sit down with that person. Once you meet up with whoever it is that you feel you're going to get this raise from, you need to find out specifically, 1, what did they see as the perfect employee? 2, what do they think that the company is lacking in? 3, what do you think that you could personally do better? It could be a sales metric that needs to be hit. It could be a customer service rating that needs to be hit. What can you do? And you have to make sure they're tangible. It can't just be like, be better at customer service. If they say something like that, you need to pull out of them a specific thing, a target, something that you can hit. Because we're gonna take this information, we're gonna work our asses off for the next 6 months, and then we're gonna come back with the exact things that they spoke of and exactly what you've done. You need something to compare apples to apples with. Because when you ask for this raise, you have to show that you've put in the work, that you've listened to what they've said, and that you have executed your ass off to get this done. And now that you have this information, once you've built rapport, done a little bit of reconnaissance, it's time to just work your ass off. For the next 6 months, be the best employee that you can be. If you are selling dog food, sell the most dog food that you can. If you are raking leaves, rake the most amount of leaves in the fastest amount of time with the highest amount of quality. Don't leave one fucking leaf on somebody's lawn. Be the best at what you're doing. Number 1, it will get you a raise. Number 2, you'll probably make your time at this company better because you'll inspire other people to be better. And number 3, it'll just make you happier as a human being that you're putting your own self-respect and dignity in a job and making yourself better. Now that you've worked your ass off for 6 months, call, text, email, whoever that person was that you originally talked to, and sit down. Before you sit down with them, make sure that you have all of your documentation set out. What they asked for, what you gave. Make sure you over-delivered or at least delivered what they wanted. Make sure also that you've done some research on competitive pay for your position in the same field. Then you sit down with that person, you show them what you've done. You show them what they asked for and how you overachieved on every single metric that they gave you. And then you talk about a raise. You show what competitive pay is. And I'm telling you right now, if somebody did that to me, if somebody came to me as a boss, as an owner of a company, and asked exactly what I'm looking for, worked their ass off for 6 months, showed up 6 months later, they showed up with what I asked for and done even more than that, and continued to want to do that, I'd give them a raise, for sure. Why not? You know, like, in the world of business, it's not quantity, it's the quality of the employee, the quality of people working for. And honestly, even if you're just getting a pay bump from $35,000 to $40,000, $40,000 to $45,000, that $5,000 right there is your $300 a month to turn into $1 million like we talked about in that last video. It's that small $5,000 increment that really will be life-changing over the long term. All you do after that is just rinse and repeat. Stay in contact with this person. Build this relationship. And if even better, build this mentor-mentee relationship, because now that this person, especially if it's a higher up, you know, like a regional or district manager, if that person knows the kind of quality that you're doing, the quantity that you're doing, if there's ever time to hire for a new executive position or a higher position, they're gonna know you, they're gonna call you, they're gonna know that you're a go-getter, and they're gonna know that you are somebody who produces. And the third way to make more money is through side hustles. And honestly, this is the hardest one. This could be writing a book, a blog, stock trading, day trading, you know, long-term investment trading, starting a Shopify store, driving Uber, pizza delivery, you know, anything like that. But this is going to be the hardest because it's going to require the most amount of work, and you're really probably not going to get paid that much in the beginning, especially if you're doing YouTube and blogging, and for sure if you're day trading, because you're just bound to lose money in the beginning. There are 3 of those things that I really want to specify that you actually can start making money today. The first is ride share and delivery, which is like Uber, Lyft, working part-time with a pizza company. That has the lowest barrier of entry. Anybody can do that. But it's also the worst. Like, who wants to do that? You know, I've said before, I drive Uber specifically just for the $300 a month to show you guys that anybody can do it, even though I don't have to do it, but it's terrible. I hate it. I will never not say I hate it. The lowest barrier to entry, also like worst job of those that you can do because it is still a job, and one of the lowest paying after you take out for taxes and everything. But it's still an extra way to make side income. And so therefore, we're gonna count it, because if you really need to make that extra $300 a month, if you're gonna commit to yourself that you're gonna be a millionaire in the next 40 years, you can do it on a weekend. Next is flipping on Facebook. And I've done it before. The amount of crazy stuff that people will buy on Facebook and eBay is absolutely insane. You can go to Goodwill and like buy children's toys or books or really anything and flip it on Facebook for crazy profit. Even better is garage sale season, which we're coming to the end of, but you can go buy stuff for literally pennies on the dollar. Like, I bought books for $1 and sold them for $20 on Facebook. And the other thing too, which I'm not saying, you know, is good, it's untaxable. Like, you don't have to write that off on your taxes. If you can make an extra $3 grand a year flipping stuff on Facebook, Uncle Sam don't have to know about that. And the best way is to freelance. While everybody can't do this because everybody might not be talented in a way that they can monetize what they love, freelancing is probably one of the best ways. A couple examples are, if you own a camera such as I do, you know how to use it well, which I don't, you can become a wedding photographer. You can do side hustles and gigs like taking band photos. You can do bachelor parties, reveal parties, baby showers, like whatever it is, like you could basically be a camera for hire. The other thing could be consulting. If I wanted to start doing one-on-one coaching calls with people to help monetize their lives, or to be a life coach, you know, that's another way to freelance. It's really just about getting creative and taking the things that you're good at and you have a love for, like such as a hobby, and turning it into an income. Those are my main ways for you guys to make extra money. I want to thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time.